Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr Chair. My colleague Ian Leese-Galloway made some excellent points there, and I want to pick up on the relevance of the great legacy of George Parr, the man who built a children's convalescent home on the very piece of land that we're discussing here tonight. And it's obvious to everybody listening to this debate that this National-led government would have closed down the children's convalescent home if they had the decision-making power over this important resource for the people of Hamilton. Mr Chairman, we're talking about Section 5, the vesting of land in council and related matters. And this, sir, is a very, very significant section of this bill. Because of this section, sir, land is freed of trusts and vested in the council. The land is no longer subject to the trusts, the last will and testament of George Parr, Mr Chairman. And I think that's very relevant because we've seen a track record under this National-led government of interfering with, of tampering with the trust that New Zealanders place in their elected officials to manage and govern and steward the resources of this nation, the assets that generations of New Zealanders have invested in. And we saw a very, very good example of that, sir, that's highly relevant to Section 5 of this bill. We saw only a few months ago this national government repealing provisions in the local government legislation that guarantee to New Zealanders the right to be consulted before a local territorial authority can dispose of or alter or change the terms under which land has been given, has been bequeathed or donated by people like George Parr. Now, under the local government legislation that this government repealed, the people of Hamilton would have, and the descendants of George Parr would have to be consulted before this land was changed. But because of Rodney Hyde, the Minister of Local Government, and the way that he has run the local government portfolio for the last 2 years, the people of Hamilton would no longer have the right to be consulted about the future use and governance and management of Parana Park. That democratic right has been taken away from them. And I reckon that's worth reflecting on that as we debate Section 5, which is precisely about the vesting of this land in the council, the fee simple estate of this land being given to the council. It's no longer subject to the last will and testament or any trusts related to the legacy of George Parr. That's an important principle. The key word is trust. And the trust is something that the people of New Zealand are rapidly losing. They are losing trust in this national government. To Ururua Flevel, who has been here during this debate, he brought a bill to this House only a few months ago to look at the uses of the Public Works Act and how the Public Works Act has been used to take property away from New Zealanders over generations, and then, as is so often the case, the land is used for other purposes. Well, sir, once this bill is passed, the fee simple estate will pass into the hands of the Hamilton City Council. It will, the descendants of George Parr, the trusts associated with the legacy of this land, sir, will no longer have any relevance, and the Hamilton City Council will be free to do whatever they want with the land within the terms of this bill. And sir, I think that is worth reflecting on. That is worth reflecting on. And this government has developed a habit of riding roughshod over the interests of communities, and the desire that New Zealanders have for special assets like Parana Park, to be managed in trust for the people of New Zealand. And this government has no interest in that concept. They would, if it was up to this government, they'd probably corporatise Parana Park and hand it over to a hand-picked board of directors made up of Rodney Hyde and David Bennett's mates to manage and make a profit. They would. They'd probably turn it over to a dairy farm. with the effluent running into the Waikato River.
Call the Honourable Tau Henare.
I move that the question be now put.
I call Chris Hipkins.